do many things, not at once, but you can do, I mean, multitasking means basically you do several things at the same time, like if a mother cooks, takes care of the child, talks on the phone at the same time, watches the TV series or something. Like women, they say that women are better at multitasking. So some people have this ability, and some people, they actually like to focus, and like men are more like this, they want to focus on the one thing. Now, if you want to do a high quality work, then it's better to focus on one thing. And if you have many things to do, then again, as we said before, weekly planning. You plan, and you plan your day, you plan your week, and you put when are you going to do what. But it's very important to focus on one thing at a time. Then you can ensure that the quality of your work is good. Otherwise, you are doing one thing, and you are in anxiety about the other thing, and you are not focused, and you can't have a high quality work on what you are doing at that particular moment. So some people have this ability to shift. Okay, now I focus on this person, now I focus on this task. And this is a question of how your mind is controlled. How much your mind is controlled, how much your mind is pure, how much your mind is strong. So this is a skill that can be developed, and the ability of the mind to concentrate, and by practice you can improve that skill. In the organizational setting, also, if you think, okay, how I can best engage people, and how I can optimize their performance without killing them, and who can do what in the best possible way. So basically you always have to think intelligently how to optimize and maximize things, how this can be done better, how this can be done faster, how we can produce a better quality. You ask yourself powerful questions. You ask yourself questions that help you succeed. You can call them success questions, you can call them excellent questions. And in this way, you can design a plan. You can have a plan of action or a strategy that will help you to optimize everything. But you have to use your mind and your intelligence more effectively. You have to educate people how to work together, to teach them how to work together, how to always think, how can we help each other succeed? So you educate them to cooperate. If you as a leader value cooperation, you teach them, you communicate that very often, and then they learn it. And you reward cooperation. So basically what you reward, you will get. And individually, you can also, when you speak individually with people, you can see what motivates them, what inspires them, what are the difficulties in communicating with other people. You give them different tools, how to communicate with others, and you help them individually to succeed. And if individuals see that their success is important to a leader, then they will be more willing to cooperate. And also you can show them how their cooperation with others will actually benefit them too. So there will be an extra motivation to cooperate. Well, first, at the beginning, it's important to have clear expectations and how the performance will be measured. So as a leader, you're clear what are the expectations and and you have reviews. You have occasional reviews. It can be once a month, it can be once a week, and you review performance. And then people know that I'm measuring my performance against these criteria. And then they can they assess themselves. You don't have to assess them. and then you discuss with them how they are going to perform better. And you are there to help them, to facilitate that improved performance. You are not like a policeman, but you are here to help them because they want to do the work. They agreed initially to do the work, and you are here as a leader to facilitate that effort. And then they know that you are there to help, and they can then make a plan, and you can help them. Of course, as a leader, you always have to help them understand what is the what outcomes you want, what results you want, because sometimes they don't understand. And then also it's important that they understand how their work influences the whole work of the whole project, and how it will benefit the whole project. So in that way they see that my work is a valid, valuable contribution. So from that point of view, they see that you value their performance and that they are contributing. Yes, and it should be written. The expectation should be written. The task is to do this, and make it very clear. And sometimes you don't want to give them the methods, because if the methods are flexible, then they can choose. So you don't insist, do it like this, but you insist on the result. Yes. You actually encourage them to be creative. You give them some space, some freedom to be creative, but you tell them the result should be like this. And how you do it, somebody can type on the computer standing on his head. You don't care, as long as he creates, for example, a nice 3D presentation. You don't care if he sits like this or like that. That's just an example, but you understand. I think Gandhi said that life is an indivisible whole. It's not just some segments. So everything is related to everything else. And I would say there is four main aspects of life: body, mind, heart and spirit. So body refers to our physical well-being, which includes exercise, taking rest, proper diet, being in a healthy environment like nature. Then the mind refers to developing our knowledge, developing our intelligence, learning, planning, creativity, and similar things. Then the heart refers to our feelings, our need to be loved and to love others, relationships. This is also an important aspect of life. And spirit refers to self-realization, our spiritual nature, God realization. It has to do with yoga, with religion, with spirituality. So these are four main aspects, and like in a car you have four wheels, and if one of them is broken, then car can go on for some time, but ultimately it has to stop. So similarly, if you neglect any of these areas of life, then you will get in trouble in other areas too. It will affect the other areas. So it's important to take care of all these areas, these basic areas. There is many descriptions of human needs, but this one is very simple, and it's 4 needs. There is a hierarchy of needs by Abraham Maslow. Then there is modern teachers that describe different needs, but I like this simple description of 4 needs: body, mind, heart and spirit. Of course, from the point of view of the Bhagavad Gita, which is my main source of knowledge, is we can say there is body, mind, intelligence and spirit, 4 aspects also, and the heart part, or the feelings, is within the mind, because mind has 3 functions: thinking, feeling and willing. So you can say that this heart part is consisted within the mind, and we can say body, mind and spirit, or body, mind, intelligence and spirit. But these are the basic human needs and basic capacities of human being. that have to be developed. Also, you can say these are human intelligences, like physical intelligence, spiritual intelligence, then emotional intelligence, and so on. I think the most essential is spiritual part of education, because if we learn who we are originally, then we can design our whole life and develop our whole life based on this permanent reality, or that the facts that are permanent, like our spiritual nature. But the common approach is that you start with the assumption that you are the body and everything related to the body, and like you learn to eat, you learn to walk, you learn to go to the bathroom, you learn to take a shower, basic things like this. But if we start from the spiritual center, then everything gets different meaning, and everything becomes even more significant, and everything becomes more useful. This principle is called yukta vairagya, using everything for higher purposes. So if one understands this basic truth about himself, that he is a spiritual being and that he is related to the Supreme Being, then he can see the whole universe, the world, the society in a completely different light. And he can see the purpose of everything in a different light. So I would say that that's the most essential. So from the very beginning of life, one should get some spiritual education, and then later he can learn many other things, material and spiritual, but if he has these basics in place, then everything will have a different meaning throughout life. And I believe this person will be more successful, more happy, and more peaceful. Okay. Spiritual education means understanding that we are spiritual beings, that we are a Brahman or a spirit soul, and that we are related to the Supreme Spirit or God, who is the Supreme Spiritual Being, that we have a relationship with Him, and that also our function is to engage in spiritual activities, and those spiritual activities can give us the highest pleasure. We are a pleasure-seeking entities. It is said in Sanskrit, Anandamayo Vyasat. We are pleasure-seeking entities, pleasure-seeking, and so it's natural that we want to be happy, but the problem is that we are looking for happiness on a wrong level. We are looking for happiness on the level of the body, rubbing of the body, friction, rubbing, or feeding the body, giving different kinds of pleasures to the body and the mind also. Yeah, sensual or also mental enjoyment through art, music, and science, philosophy. But these things don't give us full satisfaction. Something is missing. So spiritual education has to do with the understanding that if you don't satisfy the soul, you will never be satisfied fully. Always something will be missing. Because you are the soul, you are the spiritual being. We can satisfy our soul when we connect or reconnect with the Supreme Soul, who is the reservoir of all pleasure. It's like a spark. When a spark gets out of the fire, slowly it starts to become extinguished, and basically it dies. So similarly, when we are disconnected from the source of all happiness, we become more and more frustrated. So the word yoga means connection, and the original meaning of yoga is to connect with the Supreme. Nowadays yoga means exercises, health, developing your sexual potential, or having some impersonal realization maybe on higher levels, but actually yoga means connecting with the Supreme. The most simple way to connect with the Supreme or with the Divine is through the sound, through the spiritual sound. And you have heard about mantras, ancient mantras, modern mantras, but these mantras is sound vibration which connects you to the higher beings, to the higher being, and which gives you spiritual experience. Yes, there is a great responsibility in what kind of sound we express and we share with others. If we are a music group, if we are a public speaker, if we do anything that is perceivable by other people. For example, people can hear the sound. And so it is like I heard interviews with very famous bands, and sometimes they ask them, you know, you are a leader of the youth, so where do you lead them? And then they say, I'm not a leader and I don't know. So they don't accept responsibility. They say sometimes, I don't know myself where I am going. But they are responsible for their influence on people. You may provide entertainment, but it's not only entertainment. It's the whole lifestyle. It's the whole influence on values and consciousness and behavior. And I would say that before you have any public performance, you should go through some kind of training how to do it in a way that will benefit people. And I agree that, you know, like music groups who are, that you can say, only entertainers, they actually have a much greater responsibility. And we see that famous musicians become idols of people, and for the whole life people actually think of them or think of their songs, of their music, they remember them, they have memories, and they have influenced people's lives very much. So their responsibility is great. And so what is the lyrics, what kind of music you perform, it influences people and you are responsible for that. It may be also that they get reactions for their irresponsibility. But one of the reasons I think people take drugs when they become famous is because they cannot cope with everything that goes with that fame. Like Amy Winehouse, I think she just killed herself. She couldn't take this fame and everything, and maybe just a little shy girl who is talented in singing, and now you get so much attention, everybody's writing about everything you do, and so as a famous person you are put basically in a position of God, and that is artificial. We are not God. We may be talented and skilled, and then people worship them, they write about them, they give them a lot of money, and they cannot cope. And then the only thing they know is that to take some intoxication, to forget about the reality, to lose yourself in some like some artificial reality, and basically destroy themselves. And then young people think this is really cool to self-destruct, and some of these young people do the same thing. So virtual world, or the technology, modern technology and the internet, can be used for good things and it can be misused. And one of the reasons I think why people like to be behind the screen instead of confronting people and, you know, interacting with people directly is that it looks more safe. It's, you know, you're not dealing with a real person, and you can say anything, you can do anything, and it gives this false impression of safety and also control. You can control things. You can shut up. You can delete. You can get offline and things like that. And although it may be true, still it doesn't give you the same experience, whether pleasant or unpleasant, as when you interact with people live. So modern technology is decreasing, I would say, direct human interaction, and creating another false reality within the false reality that already exists. Because our reality is also false. This body is temporary. So our life is already like a computer game. Yeah, it's an imitation of the real reality. So now you have a double illusion with the internet, and you are I would say cheated twice, and so I think internet should be used for good things, and it shouldn't be overused. And if you look at successful people, or the most influential and famous people on this planet, they actually don't spend so much time on the internet, but other people promote them, other people make their websites, or other people, I don't know, type or publish their audio or video or responses, things like that. So they don't deal with the technology so much, but they use it through other people. So, of course, these other people are either paid or they are fans, and things like that. So they like to do this. But again, I think internet should be used. I use internet to help other people, to add value to their lives, to send inspiring blogs or texts, articles, or to send ebooks, or to make an audio or a video that will help people in some way, make an online seminar or a recording of the seminar, or a recording of a conversation with someone about important things in life and success tools and principles. So you can use it to do a lot of good things, but still we shouldn't neglect this interaction with people, and there should be a balance. And it's always a question of balance, how much you balance things that are here. You cannot completely ignore the technology because it's a natural part of life and it's important for many people. So we cannot just throw it away. But we should use it well, and we should balance the usage of the virtual world or technology and the life as we know it. Also, you see, in the past there were civilizations that were actually more successful. We think that in the past people were more primitive, but that's not true. This is just how the history has been presented to us. But actually in the past, at least in some part of the world, people were more intelligent. So they knew how to sleep, how to eat, how to think, how to act more effectively. So when we eat, we should be careful what we eat, how we eat it. Cleanliness is very important. The consciousness, how you prepare the food, it all influences our health. When somebody prepares food with love and offers it to you with love, it influences your consciousness. Now, it's important also to recognize that this food has been given to us. Like on this planet, we have different things that we can cultivate and eat. Fruits, vegetables, grains, and this is given to us. So it's also favorable to thank God or nature for the food that we are getting before eating. And even in some religions, they offer their food. One friend once told me, she said, whenever I eat, I say half for me and half for God. And I said, why half? I mean, he has given you all of this. You should offer everything to him and see if anything is left. But God doesn't need our food, he just needs our love, and he wants to see the offering of love. And it's like a son, father gives him a pocket money and he goes and buys something for the father to thank him for his care and love and to express his love to his father. So we should be very grateful for what we get. We are also getting free air, free water. Sometimes you pay something, but basically it's all free. And we can walk on earth. So every intelligent person is grateful, actually. And when you are grateful for your food, the effect on of that food on your health is much, much better. And when you receive food, you are grateful. When you offer food, you offer it with love. You prepare it with love. In this way, the food can help you actually elevate your consciousness. And we also should be careful what we eat. We shouldn't eat meat. We shouldn't eat dead bodies of animals. That is very bad. It brings bad karma. So one should be vegetarian, and also we don't eat fish and eggs, and we eat vegetarian food and we offer it before we eat it. So in this way it becomes sanctified. Milk is okay. Milk, naturally you get milk, and milk is healthy. Milk is how you say, it helps to develop the brain tissues, and it helps us to be more intelligent. But also milk and milk products shouldn't be taken in too much, in a great quantity, because then it becomes unhealthy. So it has to be, you have to get it in a balanced quantity. So according to the Vedic literature, there is 4 ages, Satya, Treta, Dvapara and Kali, and the succession of development is actually decreasing, or degradation. So Satya Yuga is most developed. People have higher consciousness, they are more intelligent, more pious, there is more influence of spiritual energy, like that. Then it decreases in Treta Yuga. It's a huge amount of time. Yuga is a huge amount of time. I don't know exactly how many years, but it's a long period of time. Then Dvapara Yuga and Kali Yuga. So we are now, unfortunately or fortunately, in the Kali Yuga, and the consciousness of people is very low, actually. We think we are very intelligent because we have computers, but actually from the point of view of the books of wisdom, we are at the lowest point of civilization. And so this is something that is happening cyclically, 4, 3, 2, 1, again and again. And after the Kali Yuga, there will be new Satya Yuga. There will be some universal dissolution, according to the Srimad Bhagavatam, Vedic literature. There will be cosmic dissolution, and there will be a new Satya Yuga, which is an age where is catharsis, where is a new birth of a civilization. Of course, whoever is born in Kali Yuga, he might be born again or not. It depends how much they have developed themselves. But depending on your consciousness, you get your birth in a certain age and in a certain nation, a certain part of the world, depending on your consciousness and your karma. So the tendency is that the consciousness decreases or deteriorates how the ages progress, but in any age, you as an individual, you can choose to elevate your consciousness, and you are given tools and principles how to do that. Yes, in any age, you can elevate your consciousness individually, and then of course you can influence, as an elevated individual, you can influence the consciousness of other people. Some people say that everything is relative, and that there is only relative truth. So my truth is not your truth, your truth is not my truth, his truth is not my truth, and so on. And it is true that there is a relative truth, but if you speak about relative truth, then it has to relate to something, to what this relative truth relates. Otherwise you cannot call it relative. And it has to relate to something that is stable, to something that is absolute. So my understanding that there is absolute truth, and that everything relates to that truth. And the definition of absolute truth is that it's something that is the source of everything, that is the cause of everything. So everything emanates from the absolute truth, is the source of everything. So there is so many relative truths, but also there is absolute truth. And if you understand the truth, then you don't like speculation, you don't like lies, and you can smell that something is not right here. So throughout the history, people have taken half-truth or truth and twisted it. And that's the biggest problem with our existence. We ruin our lives by speculation. So our speculation means a way of thinking that is seemingly bringing progress, that is seemingly bringing happiness, but actually it cheats you. That's my understanding of speculation. Opposite of speculation is philosophical thinking, which brings you closer to the truth. The word philosophy means love of wisdom. So if you really love wisdom, if you really love knowledge, then you will not be happy with speculations. I had difficulty reading my textbooks in the university, and I didn't graduate, I didn't finish because I couldn't read. There is so many things there. Part of the reason I didn't read is because I was young and, maybe lazy, but at the same time there was lack of interest. Later on, when I got some better books, spiritual books, then I couldn't stop reading, and I was reading a lot, and I even sat and translated a lot. So if you are fortunate, you will have sense of what is true, and you will like to have more of it. And when you encounter speculation, whether in the human history or in present society, you will actually understand something is not right here. Or is this speculation, or this looks like a speculation, or this sounds like a speculation. Speculation is something that takes you away from the truth. And high quality thinking is something that brings you closer to the truth. And Jesus said, and the truth will set you free. So whenever you accept speculations of others, or you speculate, you will be cheated. Be sure of it. So the question is about inquisitiveness. I think inquisitiveness is one of the essential qualities of an evolved or a developed human being. Inquisitiveness is a sign of higher consciousness. Of course, also it has to do with what you are inquisitive about, but if you want to be inquisitive about I would say, laws of nature, or some things that are constant, then that's, to me, higher inquisitiveness. For example, if I want to be inquisitive how to seduce any girl, this is not a very high class inquisitiveness, because all kinds of people already know how to do it, or many ordinary people maybe would like to know that, but this is inquisitiveness that is also, you can see that animals are doing the similar thing. They're trying to attract the opposite sex, to have sex and enjoy the body. But inquisitiveness about how we can be happy eternally, how we can connect to the source of everything, how we can realize our potential, I think this is a better part of inquisitiveness. So if you're inquisitive, now you have internet, which is like a global mind, and you have tons of information, and you in one sense you need to know where to look for things. Like if you do a Google search for something, usually you go for the first 10 hits, or the first page, or first 2 pages, or 3 pages. But sometimes you can find things, I sometimes find things on the 10th page or the 20th page, but I know what I'm looking for. When I'm looking for a certain title, or a certain book, or a certain topic, then you have to know how to search also. But first you have to be clear what are you looking for. Then you can be inquisitive about how to find it. Now when you're looking for something, then you might find something else along the way. This happens to me all the time. When I look for some quotes, then I find some quotes which are about something else, which is also important to me, which I want to speak about, or write about, or learn, or teach, or publish. And it's also interesting, it's like an adventure, it's like a journey. You look for certain things, you discover certain things, you look for other things, and you sometimes take more time to discover them. And but it's always interesting, it's never boring. And when we speak about inquisitiveness, what is important is questions, and the power of questions. So if you want to be intelligently inquisitive, you have to have intelligent questions. So for improving the quality of our lives, we have to improve the quality of our questions. How can we help others to help us? The best way to help others to help us is to be open, and to, to say what pains us or what bothers us, and then to be able to get help. In the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna, he expressed his difficulty in the first chapter, and at the beginning of the second chapter he expressed his difficulty about what he was supposed to do. He was supposed to fight against his teachers and relatives and friends, and these people like this, and he was reluctant to fight against them, but it was his duty to fight. So he was in a difficult situation, in a challenging situation, and first thing he did is he made some excuses why he shouldn't fight. He was trying to convince Krishna, who was in a position of a teacher, that it doesn't make sense to fight. Although I am a kshatriya, I am a warrior, but to me it doesn't make sense, and this is why. But what the good thing he did is he said that I'm confused. I have a problem, I'm not sure what's the best for me. And then Krishna enlightened him and explained to him that it's still his duty to fight, despite all these arguments and all these excuses, which are sometimes very strong and very sophisticated. So if we don't admit that we need help, that we will not be able to get help. We will not ask questions, we will not be open enough. Therefore, at least you should admit to yourself that you have a problem, and then look for a person whom you can trust and to whom you can speak openly, and then get help and get some direction, get some guidelines. Sometimes you can solve your own problems, but sometimes you cannot and you need help. So that's when you become clear that I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to deal with this, then we ask. The answer is very simple. People who are happy because they know how, and other people don't know how. So the question is whether one is ready to learn how to be happy. And the laws of happiness, the laws of success are timeless. They have always been here and they will always be here. And the question is how much we are ready to learn them and apply them. And you can Today you can see there is so many success teachers and experts for happiness, for financial success, for relationship success, but still so many people are not happy on this planet. So something is missing, and the thing that is missing is there. The knowledge that is missing is there, but very few people take advantage of it. So my proposition is to learn more and to be open more to learn from the books and from the people and see if there is something I don't know. Some people know that they don't know, but some people don't know they don't know. They think they know a lot. And two most dangerous words in English are I know or I know that. So when you say I know that, you actually deprive yourself of an opportunity to learn. But intelligent people, wise people, they're always open to learn more and more and more. They're like children. They're curious and they're always ready to learn their whole life. And this puts them in a very powerful position. So if you're open to learn, then you can learn how to be happy. There is, many experts that speak about the laws of success, 10 laws of success, hundreds laws of success, thousands laws of success, and so on. And it is true that there is laws of nature, there is laws of success, and it's true that we should align with the laws of nature, and that it increases the probability of our success. So if we looked at who is successful and who is happy, we can always learn from them. If somebody is making a lot of money, you make an interview, you can learn a lot. How do you do this? People say, he is lucky. But luck is not an accident. Success is not an accident. There is a story about the egg. Little chicken in the egg is trying to get out and pushing with the wings and struggling to break the shell and to get out. And this is a natural system for that chicken to grow. And some people, when they see this breakthrough, they put articles like great breakthrough, great success, it's a miracle, the chicken came out of the egg. But nobody has seen these thousands of efforts. So success is not built in one day, it's built over the long period of time where you make many small efforts and you basically create your luck. Of course, our luck doesn't depend only on us in our effort. There is a higher approval, there is a higher help, and that combination of sincere personal effort and God's help or God's mercy can bring us success and happiness. So the difference between what I teach and what other people teach is that it's not only about you and your effort that will bring you success. There is also something else and someone else. And if you connect to the source, if you get aligned with the source, or if you get help from the source, then you can have success.